going to be fear of the future, fear of what might not happen, or is it going to be hope? Is it going to be hope that we're able to establish a nation and believe that this will work out?
In our family, there's a Hawaiian quilt, a quilt made of the Hawaiian flag that my grandmother believes my great-grandmother started at the time of the overthrow. My grandmother is 92, and her mother vividly remembers the overthrow. And she said it was always the people were, many of them were rebellious, but in gentle ways, you know, like the making of a quilt. I don't know how much my grandmother really thinks about politically what it all meant, just that it was a sorrowful time. I was asking, I said, you know, Grandma, what do you think? You grew up with the provisional government and later the territory and later the state. So how do you know, what do you think about, do you consider yourself American? And she said, I am Hawaiian first.
Sing a song of sovereignty wherever you may be. Throw your voice upon the wind and let it rain. Join the voices of the ages in ancient melody. It's a song you should not be afraid to sing.
For many of our members, the issue of sovereignty is a new one, and one which generates for many, some apprehension, some feelings of anxiety. Will we all have to live on a reservation? Will we have to give up what we own now? Does it mean ousting everyone from Hawaii who is not Hawaiian? What does sovereignty mean?
Interestingly enough, in 1974, I first heard the discussion. I first heard the word sovereignty. I began studying all these historical events, and I read the Queen's story by Queen Liliuokalani. And what happened was I got angry, I got frustrated, and I got really resentful because of those injustices.
I would say that the alumni people know about what happened at the overthrow. We know that. What we don't know, and what they don't know, is if it's going to be safe to be a free Hawaiian. They know it's right. They just don't know if it's safe.
I've been arrested 6 times in struggles such as Halemohalu, the Hawaiian homelands, issues in Waimanalo, in Anahola, at Makapu'u. And through this experience, I learned that sovereignty comes in many different forms, and it's important that we share this knowledge with our people so that they not be afraid of taking that stand forward and being one with the nation.
What I want to tell you guys, all you howlers, you guys remind me about 1898.
When we got arrested for the eviction at Sand Island, you know, we never had our head down, hiding from, you know, from the public or whatever, you know. We were up there facing toward the ones that were arresting us. If you fight for your aina, you don't feel shame, you go to jail.
We were always aware that we were sovereign people. We are sovereign people. We always have been. What's happened is that it is no longer recognized. The government of it was taken away, but the feeling of it within us as a people and among us as a people has never been dissolved.
This concept that a lot of people say, hey, that's impossible. Don't even dream about it. You cannot be independent. You so dependent on the Americans, who's going to protect you, how you're going to feed yourself, and all of these things. Those are things that people tie you down with. Only if we allow ourselves to dream will dreams come true.
What are we doing here? Why am I, with the rest of my Ohana, male and female alike, why are we attending all these meetings? Why do we belong to all these Hawaiian organizations? And the reason for that is because we hear the voice of our kupuna.
It's a song that was written by our father's hand. It's the only thing we have at our command. Sing it to the children so they will understand that their future lies within our trembling hand.
Hui Na'auao is an organization and a process. An organization that's brought together over 40 diverse Hawaiian groups. It's an exciting new development in the sovereignty movement, one striving for unity and cooperation. The process is represented by its name, Na'auao, to achieve wisdom and knowledge. With knowledge, and in the spirit of unity and consensus, we can heal the pain and anger that we now carry. With enlightenment, we can determine the future and chart our own course in the history of mankind, a course that respects the right of indigenous nations to govern themselves.
Ano ai me keloha. My name is Elizabeth Martin, and I have the pleasure of chairing the board of Hui Na'auao. We've evolved over a period of time, starting from several initiatives for education to increase the awareness of Hawaiian sovereignty and self-determination in the Hawaiian community. Hui Na'auao was able to pull these groups together, the grassroots groups and the conservative groups, so that they could sit down and hash out key Hawaiian issues constructively.
The Hui has an important function because it represents a forum for open discussion and debate on the issue of sovereignty. The educational focus is the key. The Hui is here for a primary purpose, educating our people on the issue of sovereignty and self-determination.
Our membership is ready, willing, and able to help the Hui in the educational effort, not only by gathering our own members together, but also we have a council of the clubs that are on the continental United States that is already set up to help the Hui gather Hawaiians on the continent to get together to learn about these issues.
When you step out, you take a great risk, and we've had many people take that risk for Hawaiians in the last 10, 15, 20 years, and they've gotten pounded on, ridiculed, and so naturally members of our Hawaiian community at large are unwilling to, step out, and they say, well, I'm just going to get beaten down, we don't stand a chance. It's that we don't stand a chance that we need to reach. Motivation to step out will come with education.
So oftentimes when we talk about Hawaiian sovereignty, we say, oh, the Hawaiians are always fighting among themselves. That's not the case. Each person is perceiving the movement for Hawaiian sovereignty in different styles. We are not working against one another. Perhaps we need to learn more closely how to work with one another. But we have to come to this realization that we are all going in the same direction. And that is the commonality that we have to come to. And that is a commonality I think Hui Na'auao will be able to bring us to.
We are native to this land. Let us walk hand in hand. We are children of the sea, you and me. We are joined by the spirit of ancestors.
Sovereignty is about the Hawaiian people. It's about my ancestors. It's about the ancestors of everyone I went to school with. The sovereignty movement is full of Kamehameha graduates. If there is anything that I feel that we can do for the sovereignty movement, it is to give it credibility and a voice among the Hawaiian people.
Amongst our membership includes people that are in government. We have people that have careers in the judiciary, people in business and finance, proprietors. We don't want to read it in the papers the next day that there's been some development process that has taken place and we were not part of that planning. We want to be able to be part of the planning and the economic development of a sovereign nation.
This project is on Hawaiian homestead lands. Pahe'ehe'e Ridge was awarded in 1986, and since 1987 we've tried to bring some kind of development for our membership on Pahe'ehe'e Ridge. The project involves growing taro and fish and vegetable products to be used by our members. We're creating the opportunity for our members to be able to grow their own food and to have a marketable product. By doing this, we're promoting our own self-sufficiency and exercising our self-determination and moving toward our own sovereignty.
We organize at South Point for us Native Hawaiians for the settlement of Hawaiian homes. We organize to protect the land and look at settlement as our priority. You know, it's really common sense to have a land base to be sovereign on. If you're going to talk about sovereignty, I think we should be wise enough to know that you need your lands. There are lands that are being exchanged by the state. The Hawaiian homelands being exchanged with military and leases and stuff. The state with ceded lands, private developers, land swaps, exchanges, beach fronts, waters, resources that go with these lands. All of this stuff is part of the erosion. Whatever we believe the future would be, we got to secure our land base now. And this Hui Na'auao, to me, can make a difference. All these organizations can say, this is how we want our lands to be, and this is how we're looking at our future to use them.
Our organization is defending Pele from geothermal energy development on the Big Island, and our main sovereign claim is that the religious beliefs, customs, and practices of our people is one of the most important sovereign rights that we can exercise as a people. We exercise our rights to practice our religion despite opposition from the landowners or the state who have arrested us in our attempts to exercise our religious rights at Waukeleo So we're part of Hui Na'auao because we believe that all Hawaiians should join together and assert our right as a sovereign people, and that if, as a people, we can get back in touch with the land and the spirit of the land, that will restore the balance of the people with our aina.
If the United States can go to the aid of Kuwait in order to throw out the invading Iraq, if the United States can recognize the Baltic states, such as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, if the United States can withdraw military bases from the Philippines, the United States can and must withdraw from our homeland.
Our organization is concerned with asserting our nationhood now and in everything we say and in every aspect of our behavior, so that it is clear that the major crimes committed against our nation are known, and that the illegal invader, the United States government, and occupier of our homeland will withdraw so that we can regain our lands, our ocean, and financial resources so that we can relieve the plight of our people who are at the bottom now. All health, economic, social indices in our homeland.
We are coming home to the mother nation of Hawaii as we march from every corner of the land. See the rainbow in the sky, our colors flying high. We are coming home to thee, oh Hawaii.
The goal of Hui Na'auao is to create an educated consensus of Ngā Kanaka Maoli on their inherent rights to sovereignty. The objectives are described in 3 phases. First, Ho'ala, to awaken. Workshops will be held to increase understanding of the spiritual, cultural, historical, and legal basis for sovereignty and self-determination.
And the Ho'ala is one workshop that covers the history of how we as a people developed our sovereignty, and then how that sovereignty was illegally stolen from us, but yet how as a people we never surrendered sovereignty.
The second phase is Ho'okahua, to lay a foundation. Workshops will explore and examine the technical and legal issues related to self-governance.
The Ho'okahua workshop has 4 parts to it, and the first workshop will again look at more detail into the sovereignty of the Hawaiian people and how we have exercised our sovereignty at different historical periods. The second workshop in the Ho'okahua is to look at what are the attributes of a sovereign, what are the powers that a sovereign has, from raising taxes to setting up our own justice system to developing our own educational system, and especially managing our own natural resources and land base. The third workshop will look at different kinds of models of sovereignty, and looking at a government like Vanuatu, which recently got its independence and is a democratic republic, and yet it still recognizes a traditional council of elders in the different villages. And then we'll look at different Native American nations within nation models, and other models such as Fiji or international models from the Pacific, and as well as Asia or Europe, so that we can understand what how a nation is structured and how it runs. And then the fourth workshop will look at different models that are being proposed for the Hawaiian nation, and organizations from Kalahui, Hawaii, to Office of Hawaiian Affairs, to the Institute for the Advancement of Hawaiian Affairs, to Kapakakau, will all be presenting how they think the Hawaiian nation can be structured, and what would be the model for that. And this will, these workshops combined will then bring the community up to date on what has been the discussions and the thinking about sovereignty. What is the most advanced thinking about sovereignty up until this point? And then when more people in the community are all informed and up to date, then that'll be the basis for discussion and for the community to engage in discussions to really decide what they want.
The third phase is Ho'olokahi, to bring about unity. Hui Na'auao will participate in consensus-building activities, joining together island-wide and statewide assemblies focused on moving toward a process of self-governance.
In developing this sovereignty educational project, we must provide answers to key contemporary concerns and issues. We must blend contemporary society with our Hawaiian identity. We must create an educational awareness program like none other in existence of modern Hawaiian times.
I think it's going to be totally brand new. It's going to be taking the best, learning from others' mistakes, and putting all our cumulative thoughts together and come up with something that's going to be really successful for us, because we have a lot to learn from.
But I'm excited because I can see that Hui Na'auao is more than sovereignty education. It's the beginning of the nation. And Hui Na'auao isn't ours alone. It's everybody, all Hawaiians in this state. And it's up to you to come and participate. Come and see what's happening, because we need your help. You are a part of the nation, and it's coming. And to be a part of this is something really fantastic.
We support Hui Na'auao because of the fact that it is for the future of our children, that it is a must with education, and hope that this education will enhance the world to understand that we are all family.
Everybody understands what aloha means, and everybody is just beginning to understand what aina is. So it's not only aloha aina, or the love of the land, or the responsibility for that land, but it's also malama aina, malama ka aina, to take care of these lands, these areas, whether they're the Kuleana lands, or the Hawaiian Homes lands, or the ceded lands. Whatever lands they are, we have that responsibility to aloha the aina, to love that land, to take care of the land. And this is some of the symbolism that has gone into aloha aina and protect ho'olawe ohana, and what ho'olawe means to Hawaiians today.
I feel that one of the most important concepts or components of this important issue is the component of spirituality. The component for each one of us to recognize that we do have a creator of all of those things that we are blessed with. Those components of land, of water, of our people, of our cultures, of our values. I am very much involved with my activities as a community active person in Kahana Valley. Kahana Valley was condemned nearly 25 plus years ago to become a state park. The Native Hawaiian people were never included in the park plans for them to remain on lands that they knew from the time of their birth. It was very sad to know that these people were not going to be included in the state's plan. I feel as Native Hawaiian people that we are in fact guardians of this aina. What happens in Kahana affects people on the Big Island, Maui, Kauai, and the same as what happens in their area. I think it's about time that our Hawaiian people step forward and take the lead in the roles that are before them.
I'm way up in age now, and if I have to, if I have to give my life to my nation, which is the nation of Hawaii, I will.
My biggest feeling is that I owe this to my people. And I don't mean the people alive today. I mean to the people that were here in 1893. To my great-grandfather who was a member of the Royal Hawaiian Band and would rather eat stone. If I don't do it, and if we don't do it, nobody ever will.
The time has come, and we're doing it.
As we walk together down that dark and lonely road, let us pray the voice of reason shall prevail. Every step into the future is a step into the past as we trudge along an old familiar trail.
So as we work with each other, we look to treating each other with genuine care and respect, trying to keep ourselves in perspective, trying to speak what is truthful and good to each other, remembering also that we are the flowers that will never fade. The work that many have started and many continue is long
and there's no quick solution, so we must probably sing a lot together too.
To thee, oh Hawaii. We are native to this land. Let us walk hand in hand. We are children of the sea. You and me.
My point away, aloha ke kahi ki kahi. Oye kamea nui. Don't forget, without love we cannot achieve our goal. Mahalo anui loa e holo he ano maria mako. Aloha.
Sing a song of sovereignty.